Well, good morning, or maybe just good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am just up above the beautiful town of Canmore in the Canadian Rockies, and I've just walked up the path, or I'm just getting to the top of the path of Grassi lakes. And let me first draw your attention to this mountain up here. You've seen this from many angles if you've been on my virtual tours, but that is Haling Peak. It's part of the Grassi range. And of course, what a dominant mountain. You have seen that before if you ever watched Mystery Alaska or The Edge with Anthony Hopkins. Shows up again and again. The Grassi Lakes are a magical little spot. I will do a type of virtual tour here at some point, but I lose my reception as I go in towards the lakes. So that's why I thought it would be fun to do a little video. Now, this is the most popular hike in the Canmore area, but I am specifically in Kananaskis Country. Kananaskis is the massive 4,000 square kilometer provincial park, originally set up a very forward-thinking Premier Lougheed when Alberta started to receive huge royalties from oil returns in the 1970s. It's a massive area, broken into distinct sections, and so I passed around the side of the Nordic Center, and then I made my way over here, and I've been dying to come and show people around, I guess. Show people around up here. Now there is a dam at the top, up in the Spray Valley, and I have several views to show you, but I think we just need to start out with the lake. Well, there's two lakes here, and they are famous for their spectacularly clear but turquoisey colors. So they're not glacial per se, but they are thawed out right now. And so just as a little teaser, we can look down through the trees into the water. Now I will get much closer to the water, of course. I just want to draw your attention back to this famous mountain, Haling Peak up here. For years and years and years, this was known as Chinaman's Peak. And there was a Chinese worker, Mr. Haling, who was working on the trains. The trains arrived here in 1883, and Canmore was established as a coal mining community as the Trains United Canada. Well, he made a bet that he could climb to the top and down in a day, and he did it. And he won either $5 or $50. It was a big bet. It was worthwhile. But then they decided to name the peak Chinaman's Peak, and it was for many, many years. Until in the late 90s, the Chinese community pointed out, very rightly so, that you don't name a mountain after someone's ethnicity, you name it after the person who climbed it. And so they took the name away. And for a few years, it was the peak, formerly known as Chinaman's Peak. And then it was renamed Haling Peak. And there's really two great ways to climb it. So you can drive up into the valley. By the way, the cliffs up to the right are very popular for rock climbing. I'll take you there in a minute. But you can drive up this valley, up to the Spray in the distance, and around the bend and park, and then hike up the back of that. Now, just at the moment, this is later May 2021. The path is closed at the moment, just apparently there's some water damage from the winter, but it's a very common, popular hike, and I do recommend it highly for people who aren't terribly familiar with mountains, because it's one of the few times you can get above a tree line into the high alpine without needing any kind of special equipment. Now, if you're much braver and bolder, there's several routes to rock climb up the front here, and you climb up there for 6 or 7 hours, so that's a whole different thing, but that's true sport climbing. Why don't we, this path is looking good, why don't we just zip down here for a second, and I'm going to bring you down for a view of the first lake. Then we'll go back, have a peek over the valley, the Bow Valley, and then we'll go up to the second lake. But really, part of the reason, and this is, again, it took me, I'd have to check the time. Now I jogged up, but I'm used to the altitude. It took me all of 14 minutes to walk up here. There is normally another walk that's a bit tougher, a bit more effort. That's still closed because it's still melting in spring. Look at the water here. So this is the lower of the two Grassi lakes, and it is just spectacular. And it always takes a minute or two, but there are little fish in there, survive all winter. They never get too big. And you can swim in this lake if you want to, but I assure you that water melted. Well, the snow that we saw at the beginning of our little visit here. So it is pretty spectacular out here just at the moment. But let's wander back. We're going to wander back and look down over the valley. Oh, that was a robin that just came by. That's the North American robin. So this is all run by Alberta Parks down here. It says please stay on trails, and I respect that very much. And again, this is mostly, again, the dolomite limestone, which defines the Rockies. But in around these lakes here is coral reef. Now, 350 million year old coral reef, but actual coral reef that we climb on. And so, I don't know, we've had a couple of days of rain. I'm not sure there's going to be climbers out today, but we'll have a look. Now, the reason they have the power wires here is because of the dam, and they have a hydro system. Just give you a quick view. Again, wildlife corridor. There's the canal down below, and here are the gorgeous little lakes, just right there. Now, I could spend all day making videos up in the Spray Valley. It is actually that spectacular. But I want to bring you over here somewhere on my website. I have a photograph on Toomey Tours standing out at this point. So it looks honestly more ambitious than it is. See the parking down in the distance, so that's where I walked up from. But you're looking down into the town of Canmore in the distance. That's the Bow Valley, so this water is emptying down into the Bow River, of course, and carrying on towards Calgary. But there's Mount Lady Macdonald on the left, named after the first Prime Minister's wife, first Prime Minister of Canada, Sir John A. Macdonald. And then to the right, you have Quarry Mountain, and they are mining around the side of it, still cement. And then all these cut lines down below, very common to see bears or wildlife down in there. And then people like to paddle boarding out on the canal. And just around the bend to the left is the Canmore Nordic Center, which is the center of cross country and biathlon from the '88 Winter Olympics. Still considered one of the best training facilities in the world, although they need to expand the facility if they want to keep hosting big international events. So that's a little controversial in its own way. The town of Canmore is home to about 14,000 permanent inhabitants, and it's quite spread out, but it's an artistic community and does claim the highest percentage of Olympic athletes of any community in the world. And so doing a quick jog up here is not considered anything to people from this area. So it's always active and healthy. So I'll just scan around again, just another lovely view of Howling up there. So let's go see the lakes, because that's really where I came up here. I will be able to do a virtual tour up to this point here, but I find that suddenly the reception drops, so that's why it's nice to do a YouTube recording. And it has, like I just said, been rainy for a couple of days. And it's not a rainy environment, but now that the sun's come out, people are out here just enjoying the sheer beauty of it. And I would have been up on these lakes hundreds of times, and I'm still excited when I come up to them. And this is also very relevant historically. And why I say that is up in the valley, in a protected area, there are actually petroglyphs that probably date back several thousand years. So we know that there has been a presence in this valley for at least 11,000 years, if not more. Have a look at those views. Now, that's where people can walk up all the way up to the pass in the distance and up into the Spray Valley, and there's a dam up there. This is where the two lakes flow together here. So let's wander around. We'll wander up to the lake, and I saw some climbers heading up. In fact, there are some people climbing, so we'll maybe have a quick peek. So you'll see a sign for the hard way down. It's actually easier to come up it than go down it, but there's still ice on there right now, so it's closed at the moment. And then it opens up in the summertime. But again, it's not a competition. It's just nice to be able to share this kind of environment quite accessibly for normal people. Now I'm up a little bit higher, about 1,600 meters above sea level. It's not high enough to get sick, but high enough to feel the exercise a little bit. So, here we are. Hi guys. Another sort of moving tribute to the area is most of the benches are dedicated to former residents. So Grassi Lake's named after Lawrence Grassi, who was originally Italian, was an immigrant and worked in the coal mines, and plotted out some of these walking trails and clearly loved the area so much. And as we always like to say, we're not owners, we are mere custodians. The light is already shifting along here. Let me just give you a sense of this light down here. Spectacular reflection. So I'd like to take you up to the next lake. It really is fun to share these videos, and I meant to ask you to subscribe, but I have a channel on Heygo, and that's where I do the live virtual tours, where you can actually interact with me and ask me questions as well. And so, and not just me, a huge collection of really world-class guides. So it would be nice of you to check out hago.com. Now, oh, there's a climber coming down the far side right now. So that is very pocked rock, coral reef. And so, well, my son actually learned to climb up there. Have a look. First of all, just at the lake over here. Have a look at these. Just spectacular. Now, if you're not a rock climber, it can feel very scary. But there's someone up on a pitch there, and it's actually considered quite an easy climb, just because there's a lot to hang on to. We use the Yosemite system for climbing here, so 5 point something's the route. There's a person just coming down, that's about a 5.7 or a 5.8, which is, of course, if you don't know how to climb, it's tough, but if you do, it's considered a moderate climb. So this is all sport climbing in the area. Let's just carry on around here a little bit. So it is awfully nice to share this area with people. And this is, on weekends this can be very busy, but all we ask is the same old saying, take nothing but photos, leave nothing but footprints. The color of this water. So, hearing lots of sparrows at the moment, just making a racket. So let's carry on just around here a little bit more, and I'll show you where the pathways are. From a climbing point of view. Zoom? Sorry. Is there? Thank you for telling. Oh, I can see you. Absolutely. Thank you for telling me. Thank you very much. No. Thank you so much. There is a huge owl right in there. Gentlemen just said, do I have my zoom? That is such a treat. If you're able to make it out, that will be a protected. What an honor to see that. Oh, wow. I'm gonna have to take some pictures up there as well, but that is a magnificent owl. When you first see owls that big, you almost think they're like a lynx or a coyote because the ears standing up. But now that is a massive owl. Oh, it's so nice when you point that out. And everybody is, well, I would say people are friendly, warm. You can see all the birds. That's why they're making such a racket. I'll just let you listen for a second. Now, just a couple of other points. Up there on the side, there's a chain hanging down, and that's the anchor. So you climb up to there, and you bring the chain down. Actually, there's another, it's a nesting family of owls up there. I can see another one behind it. Well, there we are. So down into the valley this way. That is just spectacular. So, we'll talk about a rockfall zone, and that is because rocks from top as well, because there's almost always bighorn sheep walking around in the upper layers. So we take the rock fall hazard, but I go up in here because there's so much good climbing. But what I'm gonna do now is go over and see if I can get some better photos of those owls. And I won't be able to video that close up, but I'll see if I can maybe zoom in and catch them. So let me just thank you for coming along for this really wonderful experience this morning. I've been meaning to put up a video. And yeah, please do connect and subscribe. And yeah, let's put this down a moment here. And here's thinking, well, then I'll come over and give everyone a wave. So shoes, shorts, no poles. It's easy walking and hiking up here. But if you ever want me to take you for a walk, give me a call when you come visit. So welcome to the Grassy Lakes, everyone.